Ready to Love Season 4 is a wrap, y'all. The reunion was a wrap, and so I'm ready to give out my award. And so I'm giving the best couple most likely to get married award to Phil and Sydney. So you might be wondering what happened to Aisha and Dante, what happened to Camille and Cornelius, and I'll tell you why I gave it to Sydney and Phil over the other two couples. Third runner up, I would give it to Cornelius and Camille. I don't really think they're going to have a chance to get married. I think I've learned even more that makes me more solid in thinking that this will never make it to the altar. I watched an interview with Camille and Sydney and learned a little bit more about Camille's life and how she went to Howard University and to major in theater. She's from LA. She went to Howard University to major in theater. She's the daughter and the granddaughter, both of two Baptist pastors. So she's a PK kid. Then she left LA and went to Howard University. Then, after Howard University, she came back into LA because she wanted to make it big in Hollywood, but it didn't happen for her. So she went back to DC, crossed back across the country to DC, and she taught there for 13 years and I think she started a business there. Then, after a while, she left that. She came back to LA, and I think she was a school director or something like that, she said. And then after that, she went back to DC. And I think she said she got a master's in journalism. She wanted to be a journalist or a newscaster or something. But she said something interesting. She said that she wasn't made for camera because she made too many faces. Huh. Isn't that interesting? I guess it's not the edits, huh? So she said she made a master. So another degree paid for with no real fruit from it. So now she's in a doctorate program for her PhD, which is what brought us to what we were talking about earlier, was all the student loan debt. But one of the things Camille told us, that one of the great things that came out of this is her family heard all about all her student loan debt. And she says she comes from a pretty wealthy family. And she says her aunts or her mom or someone got together and said, "We didn't know you had all that student loan debt." And they've agreed to help her pay it off. Hallelujah. So something great came out of this show. Maybe Camille should have spoken up earlier and not covered it up. She could have got the help a long time ago. But nonetheless, another thing I learned on this interview, in what I talked about one of my last videos with Cornelius, was that he is an engineer. And although we haven't seen Cornelius using much logic in his decision making with Camille, it has finally shown up. And what Cornelius said was that he has a process that he wants to go through before he gets married. Ding, 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 ding. There it is, a process. Engineers love a process. So let me tell you the steps that Miss Camille is going to have to go through to get through Cornelius's process. And remember, Camille is already 43 years old. The first step of Cornelius's process is therapy. He and Camille have decided that they're damaged from this show. They've experienced a lot of trauma from this show, and it's now needed, they both need to be in therapy. Camille, of course, has already signed up for therapy because she wants to move this process along very, very fast. Cornelius is looking for a therapist. You hear what I just said? He's looking for one. They're both in therapy, trying to find therapy. Maybe he's found one by now. Now remember, they've been dating since June or July of last year. So this relationship is already 8 months old. After therapy, Cornelius has told Camille that they need to go through pre-engagement counseling with a church. And Cornelius is looking for a church in order to be able to do that when the time comes. Because what Cornelius is saying is he's not going to be like Camille's other fiancés. He's not going to propose to her unless he knows he wants to marry her, because engagement is a promise for marriage, and he's not going to enter into a promise with an engagement ring unless he knows he wants to get married. Cornelius says he needs to take a look under the hood. Huh, that tells you he hasn't taken a look under the hood. He still needs to vet Camille. After pre engagement counseling, Cornelius tells us then they can get engaged. And during that engagement, they will have more counseling through the church. Then finally, they will get to marriage. Now, how long will these processes and steps take with Cornelius? Got to be at least a couple of years, I'm thinking. One or one and a half. Camille is 42 years old, gonna be 43, I believe she said, in a couple of months. This is a man who said he wants children, several children. Now, I don't want a bunch of women telling me you can have kids at 51, you can have kids at 50, you can have kids at 45. Sure, things are possible, but it doesn't mean that it's very likely, nor is it easy. And this, I believe, is going to be the problem with Camille and Cornelius. I believe that Camille might be the right person for Cornelius, but I don't have a lot of faith that Cornelius is going to be able to look beyond Camille's age. I think when he starts to look at the details and the logic of it, it's not going to make enough sense to him. So for that reason, they came in third place. Second place, I gave to Aisha and Dante. And to be honest with you, I struggled with this at first, but once I watched the reunion, it became clear to me that Dante and Aisha still have a lot of things to work out. And what I didn't hear from Dante was how Aisha makes him feel. He said a lot of nice things about Aisha, how nice she was. He talked about her heart. He talked about all of that. But what I didn't hear from him was what difference Aisha made in his life. And that's what is needed for a man to choose a forever woman. He has to feel that he can't live without that woman. And to be honest with you, I don't know if Aisha ever recovered from what I thought was a fatal mistake in saying she didn't want to pay any bills. That made Dante pause. That made him pause. And the truth of the matter is, he may not be ready or even wanting to pay the bills for himself, his 3 kids, Aisha, and 2 kids. And even if Aisha pulls back on that request, I'm not sure if Dante would feel comfortable. Because this reminds me of when women go into ring stores with men. She's thinking and anticipating there's going to be an engagement. So he takes her to a ring store and she picks out rings that are 20, 30, $40,000, even though this man might can only afford $10,000. Even though she may say, that's okay, I'll take the $10,000 one. What he already knows now is that what he can give her isn't really what she wants, and it may not be good enough for her. And I believe that's what happened with Dante and Aisha. That although Aisha may say, okay, I can pay some bills if that makes you uncomfortable or that puts too much pressure on you, Dante already knows what she really wants and what will make her the most happy. And oftentimes, when men can't give you what would make you happy, what they do is they just don't give you anything at all. And that may be what's going to go on with Dante and Aisha. I hope not, but that's what made me put them in second place. First place, I give to Sydney and Phil because they have the ingredients that I think is needed to move on to marriage. They both are highly incentivized because they both want to have children. Unlike Dante and Aisha, who already have children, so they don't have that incentive for them to be married, Aisha and Sydney strongly have said publicly they want to have children. They both have publicly said that they want to get married very soon. Sydney's parents have fully embraced Phil. Her mother, who is one of Sydney's best friends, as she calls her, is very influential in Sydney's life. And I believe that she is coaching Sydney very well on this. And I think they're both at the age where they realize that they're not getting any younger, and that if they want a family and kids and an ability to have multiple kids, they need to pull the trigger. And so, although there may be more things they need to do in their relationship of the three couples, I still feel like they have the best chance to get married. And I'll never forget what Phil said about Sydney. He didn't just talk about how she was a good person or a great person or a nice person or this. He talked about the way Sydney made him feel, and that whenever he's feeling down, or that Sydney was the one that lifted him up. And that resonated with me. I understood that because I know when I speak to a lot of married men, when they talk about why that woman was the one they married, it wasn't just about her looks or how nice she was. It was because that man felt that his life was better with that woman than without her. So that's it, y'all. Top prize, Phil and Sydney. Talk to you later. Bye.